And we're back with another Black with No Cream podcast. I'm your fucking host, Ben Haggerty, a.k.a. Ben Reverse World. You're probably wondering what Black with No Cream stands for. Black with No Cream is a content creator group fueled by caffeine, or at least I take my coffee black with no cream, but you can drink or not drink whatever caffeine you fuck with and still be part of our group. We are a private group on Facebook open to content creators of all kinds, aka if you make videos, if you're a photographer, if you do marketing, management, editing, dancing, etc., 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 all creators are welcome. Our private group has been growing rapidly. We have a shit ton of members working together by sharing content, asking for feedback, passing tips and tricks along to one another with the goal of pushing each other to be the best motherfucking content creators on earth. And you can join our group if you want to by going to blackwithnocream.com/join. We would love to fucking have you. Please join. On episode 4, I have my dog Jake Miosge on the podcast. Jake is Chris Brown's personal photographer, social manager, and pretty much a wizard in general. I love this episode not only because Jake's story as a whole is fucking crazy, but because we dive into how hard work, no days off, and dedication can truly pay off. If you think your goals will happen overnight, you are fucking crazy. And Jake is a prime example of what it takes to give your all, invest into your career, and most importantly, to never give up. So this is dope because I've had Jake on my list of people I wanted to interview since I started this podcast, which I knew would be difficult because he lives in Australia, which is part of his crazy story. But he had flown to America just a couple days ago for Chris's latest album release party on Halloween. He actually had me come out to shoot a recap video for that, and we were able to record this the day after before he headed back home. I do want to apologize in advance because I've made a fucking crazy mistake. We were recording, and like in the middle of the interview, I had looked down and I realized my program had stopped recording, and so I had to make Jake re-say some shit. We missed like 15 or 20 minutes of content, but he did a good job recapping what he had said. I'm an amateur podcaster. I should be laid to rest. I'm fucking sorry. But if you're interested in supporting Black with No Cream, please go to blackwithnocream.com/merch. We have hats, shirts, stickers, pins, all kinds of shit. It's all available in the store. Every time you buy something, I write a personal little note to you thanking you because I fucking care. I appreciate anyone who picks up some merch. I think it's cool how many people have copped like the gear so far. I've sent packages to Europe and Australia and all over the U.S., some other cool places I can't think of right now. So thank you guys for supporting. I really fuck with you. If you don't have the funds, I totally get it. I'll try to give away some discount codes in the future and whatnot. There is another way that you can support Black with No Cream. Go to iTunes and leave me a review. I would love to hear your thoughts, any suggestions on how I can do this podcast better, what you like about the podcast so far. Let other people that might be interested in listening to this know why they should hear it, because I think there's a lot of insight in here and a lot of helpful tools and shit. So yeah, so if you could do that, that'd be dope. Also, share it with your friends. That'd be dope too. Let them know that there's a new episode coming out every Sunday. I want to point something out. I'm so disappointed at all of the listeners because during last week's episode, I created a contest that would give one lucky winner a free shirt. And all you had to do was leave a review on iTunes, including the hashtag BWNC forever, and nobody did it. I mean, people left reviews. There's just no one putting the hashtag BWNC forever. That's all you had to do. You get a free shirt. So I'm going to extend this contest to next Sunday. I hope you guys are hearing me say this. If anyone wants to enter, you know the drill. Leave a creative review with the BWNC Forever hashtag, and you get yourself a free Black with No Cream shirt. You guys are fucking crazy for not entering that shit. All right, that's it. Enjoy this week. Keep creating. And without any further ado, I bring to you my interview with Jake and the most epic podcast intro ever created. Right motherfucking now!
Attention.
If you stop this podcast recording at any time,
you will die.
I don't want to die.
Do you want to live?
You have 24 hours to share this podcast with 5 people or you will die.
I'm kidding, you won't die. You're just weak shit for not sharing.
And the winner of the best motherfucking podcast goes to...
Black with No Cream.
What do you think?
It's so fucking dumb and so fucking Ben Haggerty.
I knew you would say that. All right, motherfuckers, I'm here with my homie Jake Miosge. I just learned how to say his name because this whole time I thought your name was Jake Miosge.
Yeah, no.
Sorry about that.
That's all right, bro.
So this is cool because Jake lives in Australia. You can tell by the tone of his voice, the way he pronunciates his fucking words and shit. But he's in America. He's in LA right now, and he decided to hop on the Black with No Cream podcast. So I'm excited for that. Jake is Chris Brown's photographer. Not just that, but you do a lot of stuff for Chris, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much the whole digital aspect of his brand, I guess, I take care of.
Website, some social stuff.
Pretty much all that stuff as well. So kind of try and keep it all in one roof. You know, if we can do everything, you know, by ourselves, not have to rely on anybody else, it's just easier.
Right. So me and Jake met, I would say it was like right when I moved to LA. So this is about 2 years ago, I think.
It was a video set, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were on set of
I don't remember.
one of Chris Brown's music videos. Damn, what was it? It was Liquor and Zero.
That's what it was. And you took pictures from behind. Yeah,
I took a picture of you taking a picture.
All right.
Because
and I still love that picture to this day.
Yeah, because I know how it is as a BTS guy. No one's ever taken BTS of the BTS. You feel me?
That was the first BTS photo of me taking BTS that I've ever had in my life.
See, I think differently, you know?
Really?
I don't know. I was just thinking, what would I want? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, hey, get a picture of me on set because they always want to be cool and shit.
Yeah, no.
No one ever takes a picture of you with like the artist or you doing your job.
Yeah, and see, I never cared about it. I never really.
No, but you like the picture, right?
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it's a
just
good
it was
picture.
weird just to sort of like physically see something like that, like it wasn't a dream sort of thing. You know, it was actually
It was real.
tangible.
I'll
So-
post the picture in the show notes. But so we met there. We were shooting. He's Chris's photographer. He's flying into the States and working with Chris on tours. You're here for a lot of shit. Anything Chris related, he's here. And so we were on set for this music video. It was one of my first music videos being on set. I was doing behind the scenes for it, which came out on MTV, I think. I don't know if it ever came out on YouTube or anything, but
I don't know.
so that came out. But that's where I met you, and you're like, "Yeah, mate, I'm Chris's photographer," or whatever. And I was like,
just like that. Too.
"Yeah, something like that." And so we became buds and shit. But I've seen you, and I saw you again then on Chris's tour in Kansas. We came there, and you were there,
That's right.
and you just looked exhausted.
Absolutely destroyed. It's probably the better way to describe.
And the tour hadn't
describe
even
it.
started. You were
No.
just like the pre-tour shit, and you were already bags under your eyes.
Yep.
But before we get into all that shit, what I like to do is dive into your early stages of creativity. So being in Australia, where are you at from in Australia?
So I'm from a place called Newcastle, which is, for anybody who doesn't really know Australia that well, it's 2 hours from Sydney. It's a place that has a lot of really nice beaches, but if you go 20 minutes, 30 minutes inland, you get farms, which is where I grew up. So I grew up technically in a place called Seaham, which has, you know, lots of acreage and stuff. So we have, you know, cows, chickens, alpacas, all sorts of things. So I grew up there, you know, helping my parents farm and do that sort of stuff. And it was quite a sheltered, interesting young part of my life where I, you know, didn't get to see or do much, but it sort of helped, I think, start my creativity by me kind of being isolated. It was good to, you know, look for different things on the internet. I was lucky to have the internet, obviously, because then I had access to other parts of the world and different things like that. But
How old are you?
26.
26. They have dial-up out there? How the fuck did you get on the internet?
Bro, I went outside and went cooey and no, yeah, we had dial up. It was pretty bad, but then eventually it's gotten better. But I still was able to surf the internet, and you know I'd still go to my local store and buy N1 mixtapes and go to school and try and cross people over. And,
That's tight.
And try and bring the American culture to my little farm.
What kind of music were you into at, like, you know, junior high? Or I guess I don't know how the school system works of it, but you have junior high, high school. College?
We have primary school, which is kindergarten to year 6,
Okay.
and then we go to high school from year 7 to 12.
Okay, word.
So, and we don't call them, what do you guys call, like, senior year? We just say year 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Okay,
So,
but that would be like our high school,
Right,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
so you're like 18 by the time you get done with 12,
Yep.
or whatever.
Yep.
So at that earlier age, if you're searching the internet and finding your music and the things that you're into, what kind of music are you getting into? Being over the ocean, you're trying to gravitate towards American music.
100% just hip hop and R&B.
It was right out the gate.
Straight out. Since I was about, you know, like, kind of when I was about 12 or 13, I was like the Michael Jackson phase, which then pushed me into more hip hop stuff, you know, like I was listening to KRS-One, then I'd get into Tupac and Biggie and all that sort of stuff, and then it would progressively get into like Ludacris, Nelly, as the times went on and stuff like that. So I considered myself, where we were, a bit of a hip hop head because everybody else was listening to rock music and metal, and I was sort of, wouldn't say I was an outcast, but people would probably come to me to ask me questions about hip hop, and even though I didn't think I was very knowledgeable on it, I probably was to these people at school who were listening to Marilyn Manson. So
that's so tight. So you're out in the middle of the fucking cornfields or farm fields.
Yeah, the farm.
That's funny from me growing up in Iowa, being very close to farming too. You're in this like weird place because there's no urban anything. You know what I mean? And it was all rock for me growing up. So it was weird being in punk and rock music and shit, but always having hip hop influence because my friends would just burn it off a CD. But we had no, there was no real access to shit ever. But that's really interesting. So then in school, what were you doing that kind of pushed you into creativity? Especially the fact, it's interesting to me that you do photography and some video shit, but you also are doing social shit. So like, what is the early stages of that looking like? Like what were you working on in your high school that kind of pushed you into this lane? Did you have any teachers or anything kind of like teaching you the ways of photography and shit? I guess when did you start photography?
Well, photography, I pretty much started when I was like 19, but going back further, I literally had no creative like classes. I had no like, I'm going to do this specific thing. I like to paint, draw. I was not into any of that stuff.
But did they offer that?
They did, yeah. But I think it again comes back to me because I was isolated in my room. I would watch that much TV and movies and stuff like that and listen to music it was sort of my room was my creative bubble. So I would create things in my head. I would dream, typical, I would think about moving to, New York City and that sort of thing and doing bigger things than what I would, I guess I was destined to do in Australia, which was farm.
Do a lot of people have aspirations like that? Thinking like, I want to get out of the city?
Where I'm from, no, not at all. Everybody is, I'm going to be a truck driver. I'm going to be, work for the council on the roads. I'm going to do and be an accountant, and that's what it is. And, you take that road, you work in the mines, you have a kid, you have a mortgage, you die. Pretty much it's sad, that I put it like that, but it's
no, I just think that it's for a lot of people. I think there's people that have this idea that there's bigger things out there, and then there's people that it is the biggest thing. It's a big challenge, and they do it. Yeah. And to us, it's just an opposite thing. But I think that they're both respected.
Right, 100%. And
I hear what you're saying.
It's great. It's great if that's what you want to do. Fantastic. Yeah. But I just, as a person who constantly had my head racing all the time, I couldn't subject myself to that, like being closed in that sort of realm. So yeah.
So then when you're going through school, what were you thinking? Were you planning on going to college? Did you go to college?
I went to college for a year and a half. I studied communications and I was majoring in media production, but I did leave.
So did I.
Yeah.
I didn't leave though. I stayed.
Bro, I left halfway through my degree. So
okay, wait, before you leave, what in high school were you planning on that, or did that just kind of fall in your lap?
No, I guess I was just interested in media in general and just seeing how things were changing and how, we were having new smartphones and connecting with people. And again, I think it comes back to me being isolated. I wanted to explore avenues of how you can communicate with people and how, you can like lessen the gap between distances through mediums of social media and stuff like that. So communications is one thing that I wanted to take on and doing graphic design and different things like that to try and any creative medium. I started to build my creativity in college. Like I'd never really had, like I said, in high school, an artistic view of anything. It was more so just I would dream. It's hard to explain. You know what I mean? Like for example, I would go to bed and I would dream that I was Neo in the Matrix. And that I wouldn't have like any limitations. Do you know what I mean? Like I'd be flying in the air and I would be, going everywhere and stuff, and I'd wake up and then, it was back to reality.
So when you got to college, what was it? Is it classes or what's striking some sort of creative chord inside of you that you're like, oh shit, I'm going to do this, or something that might be, not everyone's doing it. An average college kid does what? They get up, go to class, go out, rage, miss class the next morning, repeat. And then, they just go through the process. But I feel like it's always different for a creative kid.
Well, I think the first thing that ignited me was I just did like a basic graphic design class as part of my course, and I started to learn different aspects about, symmetry and, like making sure things blended correctly. And then I started to like, I guess, put them dreams and things I saw in my head when I was sleeping or whether I was at home, and I try and put them into my work, which helped. I think the one time I kind of started to get really sort of into that sort of stuff was when I did a sound production class, and I was mixing like stuff. That I had to do a radio show or something, and I was mixing, animals and different sorts of sound bites and stuff together, and then I had a whole mixing studio where I would just sit there and do that. So that sort of ignited a little bit of, the fire, I guess you could say.
Because that shit's fun as fuck. You're creating nothing out of, or whatever the saying is. I can't speak today, dude. My head's all fucked up. Something out of nothing.
Right.
And I love mixing audio. And I think I might have had an element of that too. I think when my first thing was in junior high, creativity. And I have a teacher, her name was Miss Seymour. And I remember her making us, did you ever make slideshows?
Yeah.
That was like
The
before
PowerPoints?
video editing. Yeah, but like not even PowerPoints, just like a video. I think it was in like Movie Maker or something, and you had to like put dissolves and just make a picture go into the next picture. And mine was on like September 11th. I think I did like my first slideshow. But I remember creating that and just being like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
That's my idea and that's my mood I created. And I put sad song to like sad pictures and people felt that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's, so then what was it with yours? Making sounds, you're starting to discover that you like creating. What do you continue to do? Because I mean, you're only in college for a year and a half,
right?
So then, what's happening?
So I was still going about my business. I was still living at the farm, so I would drive 20 or 30 minutes to college in Newcastle, do that, and then drive back. So again, I had a social life to a degree. I was going out with my friends and partying and stuff like that. But I was pretty focused on my schoolwork. My mother has a master's degree. She's like very school orientated, and so like I really wanted to make sure that I did that and got my degree for my mum and went really well. So I was averaging good marks, which was good.
Good marks are good grades.
Yeah, good grades. Sorry, yeah, good grades.
Yes.
So same thing, same. That's what we say.
I got you.
But anyway, so I was averaging good stuff. I went and did a documentary for a certain class about Macs versus PCs. So that was my first like creative visual project that we did. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I did it with another guy in my class. I can't remember his name, and I don't even know where the file is anymore.
Damn, I was just gonna ask.
Yeah, but we like interviewed all the people across campus, and it was quite interesting. It was just a pretty even amount of people that liked either one of the platforms. But yeah, that was my first kind of thing into framing and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
this is before you owned your own camera? You're just doing this through
this
school?
was this was through the school. This is through all their equipment. And at this point, I didn't even own a camera. I did not have a camera, and I didn't even think about it. I might have had a digital one, a basic one.
Right.
But yeah, that was sort of what to the unis, we call it uni too, college. That was probably the biggest thing I did at college in terms of visual stuff. And then I left not long after that.
So I think a point to make, because a lot of times I always say kids as in, I call everyone a kid. Someone made a comment about this. I just have to note this because I got a DM like, hey, maybe you shouldn't call all of your listeners kids. Right. And I don't mean to call them like kids as in you're young. I just think that we're all youthful as creators. Yep. And I think until I'm 55, I'm still a kid. Like I'm creating a fucking fake world in my head and I try to duplicate that in real life. Yep. But I think it's interesting that people ask questions like, is college, or what'd you call it? Uni? Yeah, university, uni. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
so
gotcha.
Is going to school important? And I sometimes say yes or no. Like for me, I just hated school the entire time. Yep. But I did know that being at school created like a network. I was able to work with and meet people that were able to get me into certain things. Yep. But I like that for you going to college and then you end up leaving, but going to college sparked it for you. Right. And I think that's an important lesson because...
And to chime in, I think that mine was the opposite. For you were saying you made connections. I made no connections in college, but I learnt basic skills which helped me then evolve to the next thing. They're only basic, but they enable me to then go home and learn everything else I needed to, which then helped me move to the next thing. Yeah. So I do think that but yeah, college is definitely not essential for every single person. It just depends on how you operate, how you move, how you learn.
100%.
But self-taught. So I've done both self-taught and college.
Same.
So I just think that if one thing fits you, then you run with it. If you feel like you're growing as a person artistically and business-wise, whatever, just run with it and keep going.
So what happens when you decide to give up on school? Why was that?
Okay, so probably to come back a little bit, I was a big fan of R&B music, right? So myself and one of my best friends at high school, his name's Jackson. We were big fans of Chris Brown and Usher and all that sort of stuff. So we would listen to his music all the time religiously. Like I would go and buy the album when it came out and sit in the car and listen to it on the day of release.
Right.
Like I wouldn't say an obsessed fan, but I was definitely like an aware, active fan of it. So this was when I was at college, 2010. I started a Twitter account, and I was just a fan account sort of thing for Chris's music and stuff like that in Australia. So
like what, Chris Brown Australia?
Team,
Literally
I think it was
something
Team
like
CB Australia was the handle of the account. So I just constantly post his music and stuff like that, and sort of get in that Team Breezy realm of what it was. And then Chris's auntie, Christine, her name is, she actually had posted that she needed street team people to help promote the upcoming album and tour. This was end of 2010, I think.
Okay.
So his Fame album was coming out, that sort of stuff. So I said, hey, I'm from Sydney. I emailed her and said, I'd love to help in any way I can. I love the music. He's a great, performer. She said, yep, go ahead. And I started getting a team together. My friend Jackson, of course, and we'd print posters and stuff like that and put them up in the street for the album. That sort of stuff.
Were they paying for this?
No,
or this is just like mad commitment.
This is volunteer stuff, but
God
it was
damn.
again because I was really into the whole music thing. I just loved R&B and
if it's making you stoked enough to like want to help him out, there's a possibility that music needs to reach more people.
Yeah.
And you're the facilitator.
yeah, and I just felt that his. Personally, like myself and my friend, we were like, he's the next Michael Jackson, like we just think that he's the evolution of that. So again, we were just, putting up posters, doing things. And I actually found out who was bringing the promoters who were bringing him to Australia for the Fame tour, that part of it. So I contacted them and said, hey, I'm part of Chris's street team in Australia. I'd love to come and help you guys promote the tour. You don't have to pay me or anything like that. I just want to help. Because it would make sense that if the lines of communication would come, from the US and I can help them say, Chris's language would be in this way or that way. So It would be more authentic and organic for his fans in Australia. So that was in Sydney. So I've spoken to the promoter. They said, yeah, sure, come through. So I went and I drove to Sydney, which was 2 hours from Newcastle where I grew up. And I went in their offices and helped them, design certain things and come up with ideas. And I think it was the ideas thing that helped them, ways of marketing the tour. And, Team Breezy would like it this way if you put it in these words or whatever. So so I did that.
So you were really like studying the brand and understanding what it was at that point and how to, kind of grow it even more.
Yeah.
And you're still in college right now?
Still in college.
Okay, gotcha.
Still in college. So... for example, when I was having have a break from class, I'd sit there and type and go on my Twitter and see all the stuff. And
right.
So anyway, so I did that, and there was a lot of times where the company would say, Jake, can you come in tomorrow morning? And I'd say and I'd work there that afternoon. I have to drive all the way back to Newcastle.
Damn.
So I've got there at like 8 o'clock. Sorry, I've left there at 8 o'clock at night, and I've just slept in my car around the street and just come back the next morning because there was no point me driving all the way home, then driving all the way back. And so it happened a few times, and then eventually towards the end of the whole promoting process, they said to me, we've sold the tour out completely. And they said to me that they think that it was a lot of it was a part of the fact that I'd helped them promote it in a certain way. They said that because it was authentic or, seemed organic. So I said, awesome, that's great. And they said, well, as we can't pay you, but as a reward, we're going to fly you to the first show, which was in Adelaide.
Wow.
So they flew me there, and Christine was there, the Chris's auntie who does all his street team stuff too, and I met her, and there was a bunch of other street team people from around Australia who was there as well, and we were working backstage helping doing the meet and greets. So that was the first time I'd ever met Chris before, and I don't get starstruck, so I think that kind of helps. Like I don't ever
that it was like easy to ease into the
I don't ever, and just what's up, dude, sort of thing. There was no real, I don't really get blown away.
So earlier on, was he coming to Australia and selling out those tours, or was it a struggle?
He was, yeah. So he came to Australia with Rihanna in 2008, and then myself and Jackson. It's a funny story. I'll tell you later on about that. But he came then, and it was his first tour since then. So the album before Fame, correct me if I'm wrong, it's Graffiti. If anyone,
I think you're right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. But if I'm wrong, someone please correct me. But
my life was nonstop learning about him for the documentary, and I can't even remember anything right now. So what I was gonna say was they need the street team, right? And you're here helping.
Yep.
But it's almost as if have they sold out? Was the tour before that sold out? I mean, it's him and Rihanna, so they're
it was
superstars.
sold out too. Yeah.
And was this predicted to sell out, or was it just sold out in a different way that they were like, oh, this is a new market?
They didn't. I mean, they thought it was going to sell quite well. It was just obviously media things surrounding him were not great at the time. So, after that tour, the first or initial tour, well, he actually had a tour before that with Beyonce in Australia. He opened for Beyonce in 2006 or 7, can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
all right, so this is pause this podcast because I just fucked up royally my first time doing this mistake.
You bitch.
So me and Jake are sitting here having a nice long conversation. You've heard it up to this point, and then I realized that at some point fucking Adobe Audition stopped recording, and I haven't been recording for easily the last 15 minutes, probably.
Yeah.
Jake's explained so much good shit, and I fucking didn't record any of it. So, dog, I'm sorry.
That's all right, bro.
I'm really fucking sorry.
We'll figure it out.
God damn it. But now we're going to try to recap what we just talked about and bring it back as if it was the first time me ever hearing it. So I'll ooh and wow and do all that shit again. But god damn it. So basically where it picks up off here, where people I just interrupted you. Jake's flying to Sydney.
From Sydney to Adelaide.
From Sydney to Adelaide to go to Chris's first show.
Yep.
As a gift from them for you helping them with the tour.
Yeah.
And as you get to the venue, you meet Chris's aunt, and then you meet Chris and the team, and everything's good. So you're helping them out with the meet and greet stuff, and you said that you had a digital camera,
right?
And so you got to go in the pit.
Yeah, got to go in the pit. I was taking pictures. I wasn't thinking it was going to be anything. I was just doing it, fun, document certain stuff, and I think I sent some of the stuff to that promoting company. They can put on their social media pages. But other than that, I didn't think twice about it. Just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
I was more so focused on the meet and greets and helping that way. So.
But you said you sent it to them. Did any of Chris's team see the photos at all, or do you know? Probably not.
I don't think they did.
Yeah.
This wasn't a time where social media was huge, where everybody was getting tagged straight away, kind of thing. It was, and again, it was just a direct thing I sent to the promoters, and they weren't great pictures. They were just, digital, snapshot stuff.
Right.
It wasn't great. And they had photographers there, obviously. So
okay, so they fly you to this city. You see the show. The show's awesome. You helped them out. You were a big help. Now, what happens? I know what happens. Ha ha ha.
Right.
But please tell the listener again what goes on.
So after Adelaide?
Yeah, so after Adelaide, you decide to...
So I decide to fly to the rest of the cities of the shows, and I saved my money and I had saved money previously. So I spent it on flying around, hotels and stuff like that, and going to the other shows and helping in the same capacity, which was fun because they opened their arms to me, and I was doing the meet and greets and working with Christine and, vibing with everybody, and the dancers were great and Chris was great, and whenever the shows had finished and stuff, we'd go out to clubs and I'd get drunk with them and have fun, and it was awesome. It was the best Like, we just clicked, something about it. We just clicked. I don't know what it was. Just everybody seemed to vibe well, and then that was it.
How many days was this? This is all in Australia, right?
Yeah, it was probably a week and a half, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't a long time, but it was long enough for us to, create a good bond. We're all very close, and Christine, she's still to this day, one of the most loving and caring people I've ever met in my life. She's the person solely responsible for my existence right now. She's the
Chris's
one.
Aunt.
Chris's aunt is the one who started the whole thing for me, and she deserves every single part of the credit of everything.
Why? What did she do? She just saw your work ethic?
She's the one who just started it, got me on as the street team leader. And then, we'd have conference calls with all the other street team leaders around the world, because there was 150 leaders, I believe, and then had teams under them. So it was quite a few. And then we'd have phone calls and we'd check in and everybody be on the call at the same time. And actually, because I was at uni or college doing communications, I had a little bit of marketing knowledge. So I guess I'd just come up with a A4 document, and I'd put down some simple things you can do to promote the album, go into a store and offer a burnt CD, a copied CD of his music, give them posters. The worst they can say is no. And I know it's annoying when you have to approach people, but these were just guerrilla. I had it was like a guerrilla marketing worksheet, whatever to do. So I just sent that around, and I kind of tried to take it on board to, I wouldn't say lead everybody, but I wanted to make sure that we were doing it properly and not mucking around. We were really trying to focus on getting this guy's shit everywhere.
Right.
So that was, my focus at the time. And then they had since flown back to America after that tour, and then I went back to the farm, and I actually I had a job working as a burger flipper at my little hometown. Seam has a corner store, bread, milk, that sort of stuff, and
like a grocery store.
Like a grocery store, yeah. But obviously, this it's a farm. There's farms everywhere, so it's the one shop. That's it. There's nothing else there. So we call it a takeaway, which is it's like a Mel's Diner. It's a diner pretty much with all the stuff. I worked there for 7 years, so I flipped burgers and saved all my money, and decided that the US tour, I was going to fly over there and do the same thing. I was going to spend all my money, what I had at the time, and just do it. I just thought that was the right thing to do.
So did you reach out to them to
let them
know?
I think I told Christine I was coming, and then she was obviously like, whoa, sort of thing. And I was like, well, I want to help. And that was my focus. I wanted to make sure that everything was, we were getting all this guerrilla stuff that was at the bottom, all the stuff that people don't think of nowadays, and to this day, a lot of labels and marketing firms, I don't think they still appreciate guerrilla marketing for what it's worth. It's still very valuable,
I agree.
For example, the movie It that just came out, in Sydney, when I was back home, I saw they were running around putting balloons with helium attached to it in the drains, and having the spray paint on the ground. That shit is seriously and it made headline news, for example. It was really, really smart stuff. So we were doing similar stuff back when the Fame album came out, and actually after that, during Fortune, which is his album that was after that one, Chris's London street team projected the Fortune album cover on the side of a big bridge in London themselves.
Oh, that's dope.
And it made headline news.
Of course.
Which would then translate into interest, which then would translate into sales. So it was
I think that it
huge.
might. I wonder if it's coming back, because have you seen Narcos?
Yep.
They did a little ad campaign where in every bathroom, they were going to the bars' bathrooms, and on top of the toilet, they were putting a sticker that looked like it was part of the toilet, but it looked like a rolled up dollar and cocaine.
Wow.
So they were just putting those everywhere. So you just see this cocaine and a dollar sitting everywhere, and that was just a Narcos ad. Or Stranger Things. You drove by the billboard, and they're doing these crazy things where the billboard, they go outside of the billboard, and they made the kids stand up there, so it's the silhouette of them on their bike. They're doing these new things, even to modern.
Yep.
It's interesting. So
it is.
But I mean, back then it was so crucial, and I think it'd be harder to get a street team now, because all they do is they think that just posting to Instagram changes the game. But
yeah, bro, it comes down to hard work. It is hard work, really. And that whole thing, when I flew over there, I just wanted to to instill in everybody that it can be done. You know, this stuff is crucial, and we really need to get his album, you know, out there and get it huge, as big as possible.
This is so interesting
So,
because think about how crazy that is.
Yeah.
Because I also think that it's cool because do you feel like this when you're on tour? Like, say you go home when you're not on tour,
Right.
and you're back to normal life. Everything's just easier
Yep.
and not stressful. But when you get into the mix of, like, the time we were in Kansas City for that shit,
Yep.
I was working to get the tour visuals right, and everything was happening, and Chris is up 24 hours a day preparing for the show, so you're up for 24 hours a day.
Yep.
And in those moments, you're working so hard, but I think that there's something that you, like, it takes over you, and nothing else matters because your goal is to make it right.
Yep.
And you're going to do whatever it takes to get there. So falling asleep doesn't matter anymore. Almost eating sometimes doesn't matter, which
Yep.
isn't healthy, but sometimes that consumes you. So for you to feel that early, like,
Yeah.
I need to help them do this. I mean,
Yep.
he's a superstar. They're going to get it done one way or another. But for you, you're going to add a new element to make sure it got done no matter what for the good of, you know, promotion and everything.
Yeah.
You want to make sure it got saw through. So you decide to go to fucking America on your own dime.
Yep.
Fly. Where was the first show? Where'd you fly to? LA?
I think it was a random city, and then I remember the two shows after it were Atlanta and Miami.
Okay.
It could have been like North Carolina or something. The first one, it was like an amphitheater or something. But then the other two or three were.
So not only did you fucking fly to America, you flew to the other side of America. That's like the longest flight.
Yeah, it was painful. But again, you know, I didn't
matter.
at that point, bro. Like you said before, 3 words, whatever it takes. I had that mentality. Just even when I was in that corner store, my boss like taught me like mopping the floor. That work ethic, he instilled that in me when I was younger. Like, so, you know, I take pride in working hard and like making sure I deliver something, you know, that's you know, of value.
Yeah.
So that was one of the biggest things too. So by me going over, I, you know, said I want to make sure that this meet and greet stuff is great. And again, I bought my first DSLR in Australia before I left, which was a Canon 600D, and in that time between the Australian and American tour, done certain photography, you know, taught myself certain things. I'd done a little bit at college. And then I'd took that over there, had a what do you call it? A monopod. And I was just filming fans, just filming them and getting their reaction. And we'd put together like a webisode called Breezy TV, myself and a few other people who were part of the street team, and we'd put out this webisode. You know, they'd have a green screen and stuff. It was really amateur stuff.
But wait, you're doing this in America?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, before we get to the work, so you fly to the first show, and you bought your own tickets to the East Coast shows.
Yep.
So you flew to each place?
I didn't buy. Yeah, I bought all my plane tickets, not
Yeah.
the tickets to the shows.
Right.
But yeah,
No,
yeah.
so you flew you flew to that show.
Yeah.
Did you fly to the next one? You flew to Miami or whatever?
Flew to Atlanta,
And then
and then flew to Miami. Was the last show that we did.
so basically from the Australia show, there was a period of time that passed, right? How
Probably
much time?
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah,
Okay,
probably
cool.
6 months.
So then you just went and caught the last 3 shows of the US tour?
No, it was halfway, 3/4 or something
Okay.
like that. Like after Miami, they continued on, and I flew home.
Okay.
But yeah, it was those 3 shows. I took some photos. I don't think I took any professional photos in the show. I think I was still focused on capturing fan content and I was pro like Team Breezy. It's Chris's fans who are the foot soldiers, and I wanted to highlight that and how passionate the fans were. And I wouldn't say I didn't care about capturing Chris, because I knew he had Godfrey as his videographer,
Right.
and I didn't want to step on his toes.
Sure.
You know, I wanted to make sure that everything was legit. He was doing his job, and I was just focusing on the fans and helping Christine do everything, and you know, that sort of stuff.
What made you think to go and shoot the fans? Like, I mean, you're out of all the things in the world, you're just like, I'm just gonna go out there and shoot the fans. You just knew that video would be effective?
Because that's what matters, bro. The fans are the ones who buy the music, who stream the music, who send stuff to their friends, and they're the voice of the artist.
Right.
That's why, like, it's so simple to walk up to a fan and say, you know, like, thanks for streaming, thanks for doing this, and they are so happy when they get that reception from that, you know what I mean? Like, and it's the smallest thing, but to them it's huge, you know, like to get someone talking to them about how their love is impacting the artist in a good way. You know what I mean? So like, I just think that I don't think fans are underrated or not appreciated, but I do think they need to be appreciated a lot more in certain aspects.
100%.
Like people try and leverage off fans, and say fans go and do this, go and do that. But the true fans, like, again, I was a fan, dude. Like, I still am a fan, but I was one of these kids who was like up, like the song comes out and the album comes out tomorrow, like
buying it right away.
Yeah, like after the end of college, after the end of high school, like I went and bought the Graffiti album and I sat in my car and listened to it.
Right.
And like I just every song back to back to back to back, and I just was like, I'd open the album and I'd look at the booklet and I'd go through it and I'd see who mixed it, like just weird little shit like that.
Yeah.
So I just think that I think that fans are the heart of an artist. That's it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
okay, so then you put together this Breezy TV thing that you were talking about. What happens with that?
So that was like pushed across his like fan stuff, fan sites. His fan site at the time was called Planet Chris Brown. It's now Team Breezy World. But yeah, so I then helped Christine sort of. It started to get a bit more. I was doing a bit more with Christine, and then I took over doing the fan website. I learned a little bit of WordPress and stuff back at college, so I just help post stuff and do that.
Yeah.
So then I learned that. Was just helping in different other aspects of fan stuff. This is once I've got back home.
Yeah, so you're back home working.
So I'm back home and I'm sitting there in my room and then doing my stuff like I was college. And Christine had hit me up and she says, we want you to come to Europe on the Carpe Diem World Tour and do the meet and greets and be a sound check meet and greet coordinator with us to help her. So that was my first opportunity.
A sound check meet and greet?
Coordinator. So I would just help. I'd basically essentially do what I was doing in the previous shows, but just officially now, I guess. So, so again, Christine is the crux of this whole thing, bro. Like she's the one who does it all. So, I've then said to my mum, I've got this opportunity. Like, what's going to happen? You know what I mean? Like with college, what am I going to do? She was pissed initially. And to this day, I still think my mum, like I still want to finish college. I still want to get the paper for mum because I know she's masters and all that sort of stuff degree. And I want to give her that. But I went to my course coordinator at university and I said, look, dude, like I've got college and I've got this world tour with Chris Brown. What do I do? And the course coordinator looked at me and said, well, what the fuck do you think you should do, you idiot? Like
that's crazy.
College is always going to be here.
Always.
So that's when I did that. And then I went, that was my first tour, proper tour with Chris, which was in 2012.
This time they're sending you out, right?
Yeah. So I flew over there. We did the whole European tour. And that was when I did the sound check coordinator stuff. And then on my own, and during that time between the US Fame Tour and this Carpe Diem World Tour in 2012, I'd learnt a lot more photography stuff. So I was...
But they weren't planning on you being a photographer at all.
No,
You just brought your camera.
No. So I did some basic, again, learning stuff online, taught myself stuff, and then I'd do the sound checks, do the meet and greets, and I would then go and shoot during the show. I didn't even send them to Chris. I just shot them for my own sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And that was when I started to, I guess, get an eye. I kind of always had a bit of a creative eye, back to that thing where I'd have dreams and stuff, weird shit like that. But I started to understand lighting and composition, and I started to understand him, which I'll talk about a bit later. It's
super crucial.
It's weird, bro. You know what it's like with artists.
Crucial.
You have to know them, and so it got to that, and then we did another tour called Superfest, which is an urban music festival. Chris headlined that in Australia. So Christine said, can you do the merchandise? Like, can you handle the merch down there? Because it's obviously a lot of the ways to come all the way over. Why don't I just do it because I'm there already?
Right.
So I did that, and that was, again, traveling around Australia for 5 or 6 shows. Did that, and Fame, the album, had actually come out then. So Chris had just won the Grammy for that album. So he came and I'd seen him and I said, dude, like you won the Grammy, like you did it. And he was just like, yeah, man, like we were just fucking stoked. Like it was the first night I'd seen him, and we were in Brisbane, I think, or something, and we were pumped. It was great.
But at this point on the tour, you guys are building a friendship ever since, I mean, the beginning, he's seeing how loyal you are to his brand and like
Yeah.
what you're committing to it and
Yeah.
stuff. On the tour, were you guys were touring by bus in Europe and shit?
Yep.
So were you guys like, was it all one bus or do you have like a bunch? Probably
No,
at
there
that
was
time?
I was on the meet and greet manager bus, so it was just a bunch
Production
of us
stuff.
mixed, yeah.
Right.
But it was still part of, his bus, the dancers and us. So it was
Yeah.
like 3 buses.
Okay, word.
And then production were,
Yes.
off
another
doing
one.
whatever their thing. But it was sort of, it was, close knit. We all developed great relationships, and man, it's a family on tour. Everyone's got a vibe, bond, and
Yeah.
stick together and that sort of stuff. Because everyone's going through hell, including Chris, when it comes to having to constantly get up, perform.
Yeah.
Go to sleep, wake up, do it again. Like
Stay healthy, all that
bro,
shit.
stay healthy. Is
So they come back to Australia, you do that festival,
Mm-hmm.
or several festivals. Then, so what's happening? Like, are you taking stills again?
taking stills, yeah.
And his video guy's there for all this stuff. Godfrey?
Yep. Godfrey's still there.
Okay.
He's doing his thing. And then so that tour finishes, and then everybody goes home, stuff like that. And 2013, I came over here again on my own back. I said, I'm just going to fly over here and stay here for as long as I can on a tourist visa. Just hang out, just try and create stuff. And then there was a company called Intrago, which was sort of the first company that did like live streaming stuff. And
Okay.
they had an app idea for Chris. And at the time, his management said, do you want to be involved? Because I was with him all the time. And Godfrey had since had his kids, so there was no one really in that place. So I just said, yeah, you know what, I'll go and check with the company and see what it's all about. So we then did this app thing, and it worked out okay. It was just a few different things that didn't sort of, didn't work out in the end, but it was good. Again, another experience where, did video shoots. It was also all that sort of stuff. And then I went home, and then that happened for a couple of years, or probably 18 months, where I'd just come back for album stuff, go home, come back for album stuff, go home. And then 2015 is when we did like 2 tours back to back.
And how did, as a photographer or what?
Yeah. So that at that point, I believe I did the Between the Sheets tour, which was in 2015, still as part of the merch people, like as a sound check person, but I was his photographer as well, and I would deliver the images to him at the same time.
Right.
So, and then I think the One Hell of a Night tour was when I stopped doing that meet and greet stuff.
Oh, shit.
And
So when I met you, it was like you were full on, just got the,
Yeah.
I guess I would call that like a promotion to
kind
just
of, I guess.
photography.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you can not do twice the amount of work, sort of.
Well, that's kind of, at that point I was just kind of like, well, I want to focus on this visual aspect of him. So I did that, and, then, so we do all that tour and stuff like that. And then 2016, we do the One Hell of a Night European tour. That was great. And we did the party tour this year.
Yeah.
That was great. And then,
But back up. So before One Hell of a Night tour,
Mm-hmm.
the tour prior to that, you were
Between the Sheets tour.
So were they using the images at this point? Are you starting to get kind of good at it, that you're like,
Yeah.
hey, and they're posting and using the content?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't know if I was getting good at it or not, you know what I mean? But
you know
like
what I mean.
so
They're seeing it.
he was posting the images, and at that point it was like all over the, social media was streamlined. We had all the images going up, that sort of thing. So it was officially and unofficially my job to do that photography in that first 2015 tour.
Yeah.
And then the second one was when it was kind of like, all right, well, this is your job now. This is what you're going to do.
Right.
Yeah. So that was sort of where it started.
Fuck.
That tangent off that way. So
That's crazy. So you do all these tours. Now you're officially the photographer. You're coming in for any and every tour. And you were, I don't want to jump into this. Let's go back to One Hell of a Night.
Yep.
How was that as your first time being the photographer, not having to do merch? What's a day like for you?
A day. Okay.
Yeah, what's a day like?
All right. So depending on sleep, which, as you know, it's very limited when you're touring, you tend to you wake up on a bus. You have no idea where you are.
Yep.
You roll out of the bunk. You go in the venue. You have catering, and I have photographic memory when it comes to buildings. So what I do is what I try and do is scope the venue as quickly as possible, so that whilst I'm digesting the day and I'm moving around and catering, charging all my gear, sitting down, I have it mapped in my head of what I want to do. So then I'll go around the venue, go up to the roof, do as many things as I can to prevent stress, because we all get stressed, and I get stressed a lot about that, because it's very important, to make sure that I capture the images of him, every single night
properly
at the same quality level, like constantly deliver.
Yeah.
So that's why by doing the advance of the arena, instead of me capturing an image and going, oh shit, I don't know where I am, I know exactly where I've got to go. So I'll see a stairwell and say, that's stairwell C. I've got to run up there and I've got to do this, because this part of the song, he's going to be over this part of the stage.
Yeah, and you'll see fire or some shit,
right.
and you're like, I want
to
capture.
Yeah, exactly. So the planning aspect of it is like ridiculously crucial.
Yeah.
So that's my day, is I'll be sitting there, and some people might say that I'm a bit grumpy, or I look a bit angry, or I look a bit stressed. Everyone says, oh, you sort of smile, Jake, and it's not about that. I'm once I finish doing it, I'm happy as Larry. Like,
right.
I'll drink and have fun, but I take this shit ridiculously seriously.
The day resets every day.
I don't fuck around
right.
when it comes to preparation and stuff like that. And I really, really want like people to know that it's just the prep and the stress that you have. Is if you use it as a weapon into your craft, you'll never fail. You'll never fail. And even if you do fail, again, it's just a small lesson to show you what you need to do next. That's what it is, bro. So I think you got to plan, make sure you plan things.
Yeah, 100%.
That's everything, a lot of things is, off the cuff and on the fly but I'm just talking specifically about these different shows. If you plan well, you'll execute better.
Yeah, I agree. So after the show gets done, you're cutting images and shooting them over to Chris as soon as possible.
Yeah. So I kind of developed a habit of, as soon as the show finishes, I'll run to the dressing room, sit down, speed edit as quickly as I can, and get them to him within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So whether that be, it tends to go between 35 to 50 images, maybe more some nights, depending on how the crowd is and how, certain different other elements interact. But
35 to 50 images that you're sending to him every night? Wow, fuck.
Yeah. So then I'll send them to him, he'll post, and we just relax.
See, with Chris, he posts a lot. He likes to post it, like everything. And I always, with Q, when I was on tour with Q, he would post like maybe one picture from the show, maybe two.
Right.
So I would always try to find like the 15 bangers and just bang them out. Because every night for us, it was the same thing. And you go straight to editing. I would try to get them done as quick as possible. And then on top of it, I was doing all that fucking video shit. So it was like...
Which is, by the way, ridiculous, because the double job, bro, is insane.
Dude, it was so tiring.
Yeah.
But I'd have like A7S on my hip and my 5D with me, and then swapping back and like... Crazy. But that was super important to make sure the images were done right away. Yeah, but at the same time, I always felt like... Because our shows would get done, and by the time you get the images cut, it's like 11 or 12.
Right.
And so posting times, I think, are always like the best at like 10 in the morning, 10 to noon.
Yep.
But still, they'd post this shit, and they're superstars anyway, so it's going to get traction. But I'd always try to have them then, and then after I give them the first batch, then try to see if there's any other bangers afterwards that I could spend more time or fuck with or whatever.
I do that too, exactly.
You know what I mean? Thing. So that way in the morning they have another one or whatever.
Yep.
So, okay, but so you do this one hell of a night tour. It's massive. It's full U.S. tour and Europe.
Yep. One hell of a night. Yep. 2015. Then we do Europe the next year. And that was awesome as well. I think the one hell of a night tour was when my images started to sort of, I could tell that I was getting a lot better at it.
Great.
And then I think the European tour was when I was like, okay, like I've sort of got to another level with it.
Right.
And then, so then obviously I just kept trying to improve with it.
What I'd notice like when sometimes he just posts like random, he'll like you could tell when he screenshots someone's shit, and then he'll go back to posting yours, or if you're not with him for like a couple months, and out of nowhere he'll post some shit. I'm like, is this Jake's photo? Like, when did this? You know what I mean? Like you can just tell the difference in the shit. Like you have a very stylized look when it comes to his work. You know?
Yeah.
But it's so cool that you've been fucking developing that for so long.
Yeah.
Like in your head, you've been living in that world for such a long time.
Yeah.
Damn, that was like one of the most interesting times in my life being out in LA working that shit, because I think we flew in. We were just at Liquor and Zero.
Yep.
Then we were
That
editing.
was that halfway between? No, that was just before the One Hell of a Night tour.
So we did Liquor Zero. I met you there.
Yep.
And then I think right after that we went into editing. So Chris was coming in at like 6 p.m. like you said, and we'd work till fucking the sun was coming
3 or
up.
4, 5, 6.
Yeah, and then we turned around and then they wanted the intro video cut, so I had to like cut that shit in record speed and then hop on a plane and bring it all there. And they said right before we left, this is how crazy this was. And I knew how you felt because I was like, I itched for it because I saw what you were doing. I'd never done a big tour like that.
Yeah.
Like you did that and then I did Q's.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to be on a bus, all this stuff. And I saw you and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, I'm ready to look as tired as that motherfucker.
Well, I remember you asked me, remember the first thing you asked me about touring when you called me and said, like, do you have any advice?
Oh, yeah.
And I just said vitamins.
Vitamins,
and water. Just make
yeah.
sure you just try and keep yourself as healthy as possible because it's so easy because you're stressed. So you then start eating shit food, which then has that artificial happiness.
Even with catering. Like, even if it's good catering, it's like you still end up, it's not always great for you.
Right. Yeah. 100%. So like you just, bro, like you just learn to operate on the basic minimum human ability to do anything. Like you somehow find a way.
You work out on tour?
Not really, bro. I when I go home, I work out a lot because I don't do anything. I go to the gym 6 days a week when I'm home, and I just get fit. I don't lift weights. I do body weight stuff and just ride bike, bro.
Yeah.
Just to get myself cardiovascular.
That's so funny.
Because when I'm on tour, I'm running in the arenas. I don't walk. I'll run and like parkour, fucking jump over chairs. And whatever it takes.
What was it? There was like something was it you that jumped off a stage? Like, it was like the most ridiculous leap. Like, you knew there was a shot and you had to get it, and then you had to jump over something. I don't know if you ate shit. Did you fall?
Yeah, I did eat shit, but I landed on my face on concrete. I can't remember where it was. It was somewhere where I was like, if I don't get this shot, I'm never going to get this kind of shot again. I can't remember the shot though, but it was something ridiculous.
I don't know what it was because I talked to you about it and I was like, how the fuck did you get that?
Yeah.
And then you're like, I took the picture and then I knew I had like 1 second to turn around, jump off the stage over the barricade or something.
Yeah.
And you just fucking smashed your face.
Yeah. But it didn't matter. I still got up and
the
got
shot
the shot.
Was sick as fuck.
Yeah, it was a good shot, but it was just like, whatever it takes, bro. Back to that phrase.
This is such an incredible story. So like, does Chris know all this? Like, I mean, think about him he's going to be around people every day, all the time. I always think every time I see him, I'm like, I don't know if he's going to remember me. But then like
he
last
does.
night, he's like, oh, what's up, bro?
Yeah. He remembers everything, bro. His memory is probably the most...
It's impressive.
It's scary how good his memory is.
That's
and
crazy.
he can remember the smallest details. Like, we'll sit there and we'll chat about anything and he'll bring up something that we did on tour years ago. And I'll be like, fuck, how do you remember that, dude?
Right.
And he's just like, I just remember these small things. Like,
but you know what I'm saying? Like, for him, at that early stage,
Yeah.
you're literally flying and doing all this extreme shit to be involved and trying to help out in any way possible. Where he might just see it like, oh, this kid just must like work for the company that promoted this. You know what I mean? And so, do you guys ever reflect on that shit? Does he understand like the amount of work you put in?
I mean, I hope so, but I don't care about...
You're a humble dude, so I don't know if you're just sitting here chirping this shit.
No, I'm sure he does. Chris always, especially lately, he's been praising me a lot, and I'm really appreciative of it. But I feel very awkward at the same time because I don't like to be that's why I'm the ghost. I don't like to be in the front of everything. I don't like to have myself put out there. I'm very shy, very nervous person when it comes to people praising me. So I don't know how to digest it. But with him, he's very uplifting and builds you up. Like Chris he's just constantly saying like, we'll shoot a show, and so he'll perform. I'll shoot the show, and I'll go to the dressing room, and we'll have the support acts in as well, and Chris will. They'll pull up their phone and they'll say, dude, look at this picture of you tonight. Like, that's dope, like the support act. And Chris will go, yeah, bro, like Jake took that.
Right.
And he's like, he's the shit. No one fucks with him. And I'm just like,
yeah.
And I sit there and I sort of like smile and I think, that's my pat on the back. And it means so much to me, bro, because like, I don't even, again, I wake up some days and I don't even know how the fuck this happened, to be honest with you. And to anybody in the world, It doesn't matter what the fuck you want to do. And this is cliche and everyone says you can do what you want, there's no limits to it, but it's fucking true, dude. Like, I literally grew up on a farm in Australia and I'm now in LA.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense, bro. Like, it should not happen. It shouldn't happen. And the only reason it will happen is if you have hard work, which then creates opportunity, which then creates luck, which it all binds together, bro. Like, whether it is luck over here and opportunity here, and it all eventually comes full circle. It just happens. It's like I've said to Chris before, dude. I was like, do you believe in fate? I said, do you think that, like, I said this years ago to him. I said, do you think that you and I this was supposed to happen? And he said, yeah, 100%. And I said, well, I think so too. Like, for some, it's just weird, especially to my parents, because they've seen me be like Chris Brown fan. And then to this is
Isn't that crazy?
They still don't get it. They still like confused. It's almost like a dream. It doesn't really make sense. It's like that Neo dream I was saying. Like it's like I'm gonna wake up and it hasn't happened.
It's the same thing for my family.
Weird.
It's very funny.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Like,
but it's cool because they get excited. You know, you always struggle with something like, I don't know, I'm gonna leave college because I think this might work, and it doesn't seem safe.
Right.
And everything a creative does is never safe. It's always a gamble. You're always risking your time, your energy, your money, all this stuff.
100%.
But when it pays off, it feels really good. And I think that it's something that they eventually get to understand. A lot of times, I think it takes people a long time to see that. But you put it so well, the way you know what I mean, that it is possible.
It
like,
is
super
possible.
fucking possible. But
is.
that, I love your fucking story because this is the version that people don't hear. I didn't even know all that shit.
Yeah.
I think I've asked you about it, and you were like, "Oh, I used to do some of the fan site and all that
It's
shit."
just such a long story.
It is
That's
a long
the problem. Like, we needed this scenario
Hell
to
yeah.
talk about it, because that's the only way I could kind of get it across detailed enough where you can understand it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is that long that you think like, fuck me, how the hell did all this shit happen? That's what I just constantly think. Like, I'll sit there in the house and be like, dude, like, fuck, like, I'm exhausted from thinking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just but yeah, it's amazing, man. I could have been cooking hamburgers back in Seaham, my farm area. You know,
Isn't that crazy?
I could have been a cameraman at Channel 9 in
Same
in
here.
Newcastle.
That's exactly the same shit I say. God damn.
And it's the same thing, bro, because you're from a small town.
Yeah.
And it's like, you hear all these stories about these small town people having these like really cool jobs that just don't make sense. And it's rare, but it's not rare, because you kind of do hear about these crazy stories every now and then.
Right.
And you're like, holy shit, like, Prince's guitarist was this, or, you know, Michael Jackson's guy was that, or, you know, like, just these people that are embedded that are so crucial to an artist's image and life that you never hear or see about until these stories come out, whether it's the end of the artist's career or it's behind the music, where you see Jim Bob, the bodyguard, who is like 20-year bodyguard. You never hear from him, and he has all these amazing stories about the artist.
Amazing.
Yeah. So like, that's why I think it was good with the documentary that Chris released, you know, like to see that come out and everybody's reaction. Like, I had people text me that I don't even speak to. Haven't spoken to in years, and I wouldn't say hated Chris, but had a very negative opinion of him.
Of course.
Based on lack of knowledge too, which is based on the media. And they would say to me like, Jake, like, my opinion of Chris has changed 100%. You know, I said, well, I'm glad, because he is one of the most giving, caring and supportive people I've ever met in my life.
Right.
And he will, if we're at a table, everyone will eat before him, and he'll make sure. And he just, it doesn't matter. Like, he'll put like any problems aside to make sure you're good.
Yeah.
And that's just, you know, like, I just can't even put into words.
Well, I agree, because it is something that I think a lot of people need to see the documentary, and I'm glad that we, in the edit process, me and Andrew tried to make it as open for him to share it however he wants to.
Yeah.
Like, I can't ever say, oh, he lied or he told the truth, because none of us will ever know. But the way he was able to fairly share his story and put it out there, like, yo, if you want to know, this is it. If you don't want to know, fuck it. You hate me forever. But like, I really enjoyed trying to piece that together in a way that people could finally hear what he had to say about it, because he just hasn't talked about it forever. And it is cool to see some people really say like, wow, I think differently of him. I'm like, so do I. I mean, when I moved here, it wasn't like I was a diehard Chris Brown fan. I didn't pay attention to everything.
You knew what was delivered to you.
Yeah,
really.
I knew the
was
basics. And when we went to the One Hell of a Night tour, when we flew to Kansas City to meet you guys there for the first show, and our Uber driver was this dude in a pickup truck. My first time in an Uber in a pickup
Right.
truck.
I already
But
know
he's
what's gonna
driving
happen
us,
here.
and he's like, "What are you guys doing here?" And we're like, "Oh," and he just kept picking at us, like, "Why do you have so much fucking gear in my truck?" And we're like, "Oh, we're doing this thing for Chris Brown." And he's like, "That guy that beat the shit out of Rihanna," and it's like that. That's what I think
That's it.
everyone
That's what
knows if
people
they
know.
don't care. You know what I mean? If you don't care, you know that.
Yep.
And then I never knew his whole story, so it was really interesting making that. Which I don't want to make this all about the documentary. That was a whole nother thing.
Right.
I'll talk to Andrew about that.
Yeah.
But it was cool when we were making the documentary, and we got down. This is like my favorite part. Is we got down to. We had like a rough cut. I think it was really rough, and we had to play it for some people. So we like had this theater, but before we did it, you had sent us some photos, which we used for the poster, and I edited the poster. So I like created this poster out of that one.
That was the spotlight one.
The spotlight photo. I fucking love that shit. And I don't even think I don't think I did much or anything to the photo. I might have added another spotlight or something.
I think you added 2 on the corner or
Two in
something.
the corner. Yeah, something like
come
that.
in.
But goddamn, that shit looks so fucking good. And I remember seeing a picture of it outside of the theater, and they had it framed, and I was like my first time seeing the theater, like the shit was in the movie theaters.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was like a year and a half after until it actually came out. But then
Yeah.
we used your photo again for the other poster.
Yeah. It's
And
crazy,
it
bro.
looks sick.
To even see like my photo published anywhere is ridiculous. And like that's why like even just this week with his album releasing, like the fact that he gave me the opportunity to do his album photo shoot, like when he first
Damn
told
it, you
me,
spoiled it. I wanted to,
oh shit, well,
motherfucker.
anyway, but yeah, like that opportunity was just ridiculous. Like,
Yeah, how did that? So, for you guys that don't know, Chris just came out with a new album, and if you go pick it up, is it how is it with the photos you took? Are those on the cover of the album, or is the album cover the heart with the moon?
that's the cover. So the photos are in the booklet.
Yeah.
And then obviously all the single release has, a lot of them have the photos, different images of him, different composite images as well. But yeah, the heart itself is his creation.
like actual thing.
Yeah, that's the cover for it.
But
So,
damn,
yeah.
the photos I saw that you have like in the booklet and shit turned out nice.
Thank you, bro.
And I remember you texted me like, dude, I'm here, and it's like my first studio shoot,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna be using real lighting and shit. So how was that? I mean, I don't want to.
Stressful.
It
Very,
was?
very stressful. Yeah, because like I said, bro, I'm not technically trained in that area whatsoever. And I said, and Chris's creative director Courtney Walter, who's done every single piece of art direction for his stuff with him in collaboration since Run It, like the first single.
Fuck.
She's done every cover, every single one all the way up. I mean, every cover except for like the Fame cover, which was with Ron English, that picture. But yeah, Chris would say to her, she would say, Chris has told me that he wants you to do like a photo shoot kind of thing for his new album. And I was bogging my pants, bro. I was like,
You didn't see it coming at all?
I didn't, not really, no. Like I was like, I'd always do the photos, the live photos and the personal stuff, but I never thought that was going to be a thing. And he would constantly tell me, and I'd just sort of think, oh yeah, cool, yeah. And again, I was very nervous about it.
Yeah.
But Courtney, she said that's what he wants to do. We're doing it. So I was like, all right. So then, we talked to the label and everything. We got it all organized. We talked about different things of how we want it to look. Chris was, all about this. I want it to be very candid and very,
Yeah.
sort of. So we had the studio, we did the different lightings. We sat there, did all the testing, and I had a great digital tech and an awesome lighting director with assistants that helped me, shape how we wanted it to look. I'd say, I want it to look like this. Chris wants it to look like that. He'd say, I like this, I like that. And there was one shot in the album that's actually in the booklet. I don't have the thing with me, but if I'll show you.
I'll post it in the show notes.
Cool. It's a shot where he's blowing smoke out of his mouth. So the name of the album is Heartbreak on a Full Moon. This is unedited too. He blew smoke out. It made a heart with like a crack down the middle of it in the smoke.
Wow.
Like some ridiculous bullshit that we never thought we'd be able to capture. And it just happened. And like we looked at the screen when it happened and we're like, whoa, like that's crazy. So
Holy shit.
it's just weird shit like that happens, like coincidence stuff that you're
Yeah.
like, yeah. So, but it was awesome, bro. Like I'm so humbled by the fact that he just wants to build me up. Like he's like, I want you to be the best. Like I said to him the other night, I was like, dude, I want to be David Fincher. Like I want to direct movies. That's what I want to do. I don't want to, I want to have my vision, like so I don't know what, it's just something creative. I want to push, you know,
in the
I want to
Matrix.
push harder.
Yeah, you want to make your films.
I want to push harder. So how that's going to happen, I'm not sure. But this guy's instrumentally, you know, created my career.
That's amazing.
You know, essentially, you know, and he supported me all the way, and I'll support him to the day I die, regardless of what happens. So
crazy.
That's how it's going to be, and that's how it's going to stay. So
That's a fucking sick ass motherfucking story.
yeah, bro, it's pretty nuts, man. And like, you just come back down to hard work, and you know, like if anyone ever has any questions about live photography or, you know, like concert photography and stuff like that, I'm more than happy to answer anyone's questions, because I have a very good insight as to how you can, you know, make the best images with the most little gear, stuff like that. Like, there's just small things where you don't have to have the best shit.
Right.
You don't have, like, I bought like that 600D. I had a 24 to 105, I think it was, and that cost more than the camera did.
Right.
So it was the typical shit camera, good lens. And I captured some of the best shots I've ever done on that camera with that lens.
Right.
So it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, you've just got to, and even like I said with the live stuff, when I go out to an arena, I have my gear, like I have a sling strap. I treat it as like a routine. I'll wear all black with like my Converses on, and that's my work outfit. You know what I mean? Like, when I put it on, it's like I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And I'll go out there, and this isn't negative towards any other photographers, but I will look at all the press photography and I'll say, in my head, you fuckers have got nothing on me, just because I know I'm going to fucking crush this in my head. I'll just go, right, like you guys will walk and do a shot, I'm going to run.
Hell yeah.
And that's how it's going to fucking be. And I'm just going to continue to work as hard as I can. If I have to abseil from a roof, I'm doing it. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I'm going to do it. And if production don't let me do it, I'm still going to do it anyway.
By yourself.
So
damn.
If someone, like I get this all the time, I'm sure you've had it. I'll stand up on things.
Get down.
Production will tell me to get down. Security will tell me to get down. I'm not getting down. It's my job to capture this artist in the best way possible. I'm directly responsible for my job to him and to myself. I'm going to do anything it takes, regardless. And I'm going to continue to do that to the day I die, you know, in anything, not just photography. You've just got to have that mentality that you are going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing.
I fucking agree.
Yeah, that's the way, bro. You've just got to keep striving, focus on what you got to do, execute it, and do it.
Dude, I had, so Jake's here for a specific event. The album just came out. Heartbreak on a Full Moon released yesterday?
2 days ago now.
2 days ago
Yeah.
at midnight. So they had a big album release party at Universal Studios on the back lot in the New York City back lot. So it was actually really dope. They like turned. Did you have anything to do with that? The design or anything?
No, that was Chris, bro.
That was all Chris?
He had 100% full control over creative stuff.
This
Amazing.
motherfucker had turkey legs. He had massive turkey legs, hot dogs. He had cotton candy. He had a guy on stilts, a clown on stilts. It was all Halloween shit.
Yeah.
People spray painting these massive. It was really sick.
Lasers, lights everywhere.
They had a stage in the middle, and he performed like 4 or 5 songs.
Yep.
Jake asked me to come through and film some video. He's like, dude, last minute, please. And so I came through, which the video ended up it was fun for me.
It was dope. Yeah, it was
turned out
really dope,
cool.
bro. Everybody loved it.
But it was funny how you were just saying, like, it doesn't matter if they tell me to get down, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because I'm the same fucking way, and I will fight or ignore and just get my shot.
Yep.
And while Chris was, like, afterwards, he went to the VIP spot, and, like, everyone went in there. You know what I mean? It was just packed out. And I was looking for you, because I was like, I think I'm going to dip. Because we were done. We got all the stuff. But I, like, stood on this couch and was just kind of, like, spotting it out. I was like, maybe is Chris doing anything cool? Do I need to capture it? Where the fuck is Jake? And then this dude's like, get the fuck off the couch. And I was about to like sass back, like, dog, I'm doing my job. And this dude was massive. Like, I was like, no, you're good. You can, it's your couch. Have it. I'm out of here. Like, fuck it. This is not worth it. I was like,
I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't care how big they are.
This dude was about to swing though. It was creepy.
Bro.
I don't know if he was like, what his deal was, but he must love that couch or some shit. I was like, I'm off. I'm going to go to a different side, get on a different couch.
Look, I respect people's jobs.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've told you this before. I respect everyone has a job that they have to do, right? But the thing is with people, when they interrupt me when I'm shooting, I've told, and as you can tell, I treat this shit so seriously, bro, that like my life depends on it.
Yeah.
So if someone's coming up to me and they're saying, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, if I'm not affecting them and what they're doing in their work, leave me the fuck alone, because you're affecting me now. You're stopping me from doing my job.
I agree.
So don't fucking touch me. Don't talk to me, and don't try and boss me and tell me what to do. Because I'm not gonna sit. And this probably comes back to me being Aussie.
Yeah,
too,
I was just gonna say you Aussies
bro,
are lit as fuck.
Because like we play fucking physical contact sport down there, bro. No pads, no nothing. We get into it. We don't fuck around. So we fight. We go the axe.
When we were in Australia with Q, dude, every dude was out there like. Getting in another dude's face, like took their shirts off and shit right away, ready to duke it out. I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
and even that, bro, like you don't even have to take your shirt off. Like, just some people just get into it. You know what I mean? Like, but it's and I'm not promoting to be aggressive.
Right,
I'm just saying that like
you
just
fight for what you want.
You fight for what you want, and you don't let people stand over top of you when it comes to your creative stuff and your job. So
I
like,
love that.
don't back down from anything because you think someone else has it on top of you.
Yep, I'm with that shit. So before you got here, we were working on this documentary, so I was at the office and skated back and then fucking ran out of battery and had to walk, and I had no time to prepare for this interview at all. So I'm sorry I fucking cut this shit out on you earlier.
You good, bro.
I had to reset. But I usually like to post in the Black with No Cream, the private group, and let them ask you questions.
Yep.
So I fired that off like as we started this, and I only got a few responses.
Yep.
But Robert Riviera, he wants to know what your favorite city is to shoot in.
Wow. Good question, Robert. I've never heard that before.
Let's do it in America, and where's your favorite like country that you shot in? I want to hear both.
Okay. I think city-wise, it's New York City. Just because the crowd themselves, because I shoot Chris, in general, but I'm talking about the arena itself. Like Barclays is like every time we go there, it's packed, bro. It's always sold out. So every time I've went to that arena, 20,000 plus people, and I capture wide angles of that place, it is ridiculous.
Insane.
Like you capture the best fan content in New York City because they have the best fans for this specific artist there, and even other artists too, bro. They're very, very passionate in New York City about what they like, their artists, their shoes, whatever the fuck it is. They're super passionate about it. Same in Paris. The Paris fans, crazy, bro. Like they. And I think city-wise to capture, I think Paris is beautiful because it's architecturally insane. Like Napoleon made it or something like that. And it's that's a great place to shoot as well. But yeah, I think New York City in the US is my favorite place aesthetically to shoot.
The shows are good.
Yeah, bro. The shows are great. And yeah, maybe over in Paris is probably one of my other favorites. Yeah.
Dude, I almost got arrested in Paris for flying my drone.
Really?
Around where the fuck was I at? I wasn't at the Eiffel Tower.
Yep.
But I was flying the drone, and it was right before we were actually leaving Paris. So I like walked a couple blocks, was flying it around Notre Dame.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm flying it there, and dude, the military came at me with real guns.
For real?
And like made me land the shit, and then the police came over, and they had to check it all out. It was so crazy, and I thought they were going to leave in the bus and never know I was fucking in prison or whatever. Bro. Trip. All right, that's dope. I like that. What about Australia, though? Do they go crazy for you? Because I felt like Q's biggest, like that was the craziest show.
Yeah, bro. Like
all those Australian shows.
I think a lot of the stuff when it comes to overseas fan bases for any artist, for any US artist, they don't see them that often. So when they do see their favorite artist, they go fucking ballistic. Like with Q, like when we went to that show in Newcastle, when Newcastle is where I grew up. You went there, you've seen it. Yeah, it's
really
beaches,
cool.
bro. Everybody's super cool, and like everybody knows all of Q's words. Like on every song, bro. Everyone goes crazy, and you would think, how the fuck does all this music travel all the way over here? But it's the overseas fans that
I was just gonna
are
say
the most
it's
obsessed.
You. It's fucking you.
Well, that's right.
Why.
Yeah. Well, they're just everybody's like I said, they don't see them that often.
Yeah.
They get super pumped up.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why the overseas fans are the best, bro, because they're just, and I mean, the US fans are amazing as well.
But still, it's a different breed.
It's a different thing because you know what? I think that they appreciated a lot more the European and Australian, Asian, demographic.
It's not accessible.
Yeah, it's not accessible, and there's fans that have hit me up and said, Jake, I've flown all the way from Australia to the US because Chris hasn't played in Australia for a long time.
Wow.
Just to see him for like fucking
An hour and a
45
half.
minutes, an
Yeah.
hour. Like, I'm like, wow, like that's commitment
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
and real love for an artist. So it's crazy, bro. Like,
This was so when Q played in Australia. This was funny because we did play Newcastle, and Jake. I told him to come to the show because he was home.
Yeah.
And I fucked up not
Yeah.
understanding because this was my first time out of the country.
It was,
like
yeah.
Australia was the first part of us on this world tour thing.
Yep.
And so I'm in Australia with no service, and I didn't realize. Like I told Jake to come through. He was planning on coming. I'm at the venue. There's no Wi-Fi, so
Yeah.
I can't connect to anything.
meanwhile, all my boys have got tickets and they're in the
They're
thing.
in the shit.
So I'm sitting in a park across the road on a bench.
And I'm just inside chilling, fucking. I thought it was connected, so I just thought you hadn't hit me up. And I'm sitting there playing ping pong and just like sitting around.
Yeah.
And then finally the show starts. And I think like halfway through the show, I realized what was happening. So I like got on my friend's phone, was texting you, and then finally like ran over and
Yeah.
figured it out. And you got in,
Yep.
and saw like the last fucking song.
Yeah,
or something.
the last song.
I
the cue.
fucked up so bad.
That's cool, bro.
Shit was trash.
I won't
know,
hand that over you. For
I
the
know
rest of
one
your
person in
life.
Australia, and I fucked them up.
Yeah, you fucked me.
Did you have to travel for that?
Nah, I mean, actually, technically, I did because I lived in Sydney. So I
was gonna say, I felt
so
like
I
you were
drove with all my friends and we're staying at a hotel. They went. Funny story though, bro. They went in. And I was waiting in that park for you.
Oh my
and then when I
God.
didn't hear, I actually went back to the hotel, got in the bed, and was like, committed. That's it. I'm done. I'm going to sleep. And then like you hit me up, so I then had to go back in again.
Fuck! I
And
feel
then
so
I never
shitty.
I never told you this, but
I feel
but
so.
it's cool though because I was like, shit, I'm still gonna come in. So, but yeah, I was almost close. I was watching
Oh my
Star Wars or something. I was
God.
very close to falling asleep. But yeah,
All right, well, I'm gonna get you a black and no cream shirt, and
Okay.
tell me that makes up for it. Is the coffee good?
yeah, it's dope. Yeah, it's good, bro.
Dutch Bros.
This thing, as you know, saves my life.
Same
And I never
here.
drank coffee before, but after doing this sort of shit,
Yep.
I rely on this. I call it the nectar of the gods.
It is.
If I wake up and I don't have coffee, I don't know what the fuck I'd do.
I fucking hear that, dude. That's the name of this shit.
Yep.
I got one more question. Just there's only 2 people that posted on it within an hour, but Alex Trounce
Mm-hmm.
says, "Can I send him some merch?"
Alex, yeah, sure, bro. Send me some merch. I appreciate
Hit
it.
him up on the DM on IG. Maybe he'll hit you back. Man, that's fucking funny. What a crazy story.
Mm.
I think it's so interesting. I'll recap this shit afterwards. We did an hour 20. Probably would have been probably the same. but
Yeah,
we just
probably.
redid that one part. So
Something like that.
hopefully it makes sense when it plays through. I don't know. But,
Yeah, it should.
So what do you got tonight? You're going out with Chris or something like that?
Could be, bro. Might just have a few drinks, just chill out. I'm just trying to decompress from that album release. It's been been awesome, like the reviews are good, which is, more than what we want to hear. We the feedback from the fans is the biggest thing, and when they say that an album is his best since his Grammy award-winning album, then that's great.
And he put out so many fucking songs.
I know, bro. He has thousands of songs.
Oh, I
thousands.
believe that shit.
And I'm telling you, and I've heard so many songs that could be number 1 hits, and he's like Tupac, bro. He just has an arsenal of records and he constantly records. He has a studio in his house and he just records.
Oh, did he build out the studio in his house?
Yeah, so he has, it looks like a spaceship. It's ridiculous. When
Damn, I'll check that out.
I'll have to take some pictures and show you, bro.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know.
I remember him saying that. Is it like the side of his house, that one left side of his house?
Yeah.
He parked his car in there when we did that video.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm going to turn this whole thing into a studio.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, that's fucking tight.
Yeah, well, it's on the other side, actually, I think, near his TVs.
Oh, okay, where?
But still, like, he's that whole compound aspect on the other side, it's just like you literally walk through the door. Like when he has a pyramid in the middle of his recording studio.
That's so sick.
It's a pyramid, right? The pyramid is the recording booth. So you walk in front of the pyramid and you swipe your hand over a certain block on the side of the pyramid and the
No.
doors open like a fucking spaceship.
That's right.
And he goes in there and sits in there and records, and then all the other shit is there, and there's all couches on the walls that
oh,
go
yeah,
up.
that's dope.
Yeah, bro. It's just like he's intelligence-wise, I don't think anybody understands how intelligent this guy is, how creative he is. I actually think that he's an evolved human being past certain people. I'm not even fucking lying to you. Just from what I've seen, I think that for someone to be able to paint, dance, sing, do all this shit, he can't be a normal human being, bro. And that's that's obviously I'm a bit biased because, you know, he is.
Dude, I'm telling you, from me coming in and not knowing this guy and not like really caring in general before I came into it, working with him, I'm like, this is one of the most creative motherfuckers I've ever been around my entire life.
Right.
And it's super, just to have the experience to work around him and see what he does and how he moves. It's like, that makes sense why you did that. That makes sense why you did that. It's good. He's a good person to have in music. It's crazy.
I think he's regardless of what happens in the future when it comes to the music industry, I think people are still going to talk as if, you know, he was one of the biggest artists that's ever lived in our generation, you know, and for years to come.
Easy.
So I don't care what people say about him, but you cannot deny his talent, bro.
It's insane.
You cannot deny his talent.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks for coming on. I hope everyone enjoys this shit. I don't know how to end fucking podcasts yet.
Fuck it. Black with no cream.
Black with no cream, you bitch.
Biatch.
Bow. That's a wrap with Jake Miosge. Thank you for listening. Make sure you follow Jake online. I've shared his links in the show notes, which you can find at blackwithnocream.com/podcast. Leave a review on iTunes for me and let me know what you loved about this interview. Make sure you signed up to be a Black with No Cream member. And last but not least, buy some motherfucking ill-ass Black with No Cream merch. God damn. Every sale helps me keep this alive. Subscribe to Black with No Cream. New episodes every Sunday. See you next week, you bitch!